We resent you with repeat tools, increase the pools.
The media by the welfare poets here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. We are on the road in Minneapolis. We're on the convention floor of the National Conference for Media Reform. We're broadcasting here for the hour. Free Speech TV, our partner on Channel 9415 of Dish Network, is going to be broadcasting these hearings, if you can call them that, the sessions, gavel to gavel, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and for the whole time Sunday that this conference is taking place, of more than 3,000 people who are gathering despite the terrible weather here in Minneapolis from around the country. Lawmakers are urging the Federal Communications Commission to investigate the Pentagon's propaganda program to determine if the major TV networks or the Pentagon-backed analysts violated federal law. In April, the New York Times revealed the Pentagon recruited more than 75 retired military officers to appear on TV outlets as so-called military analysts ahead of the Iraq War. The so-called analysts were given classified Pentagon briefings, provided with Pentagon-approved talking points, given free trips to Iraq and other sites paid for by the Pentagon. FCC Commissioner Michael Copps joins us now here in Minneapolis at the National Conference on Media Reform, along with Free Press co-founder Bob McChesney. He has served, Commissioner Copps has served on the FCC since 2001. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you for having me here.
Let's start with that issue of the so-called independent analysts in the lead-up to the invasion and after. What's the FCC doing about it?
Well, the FCC has been requested by powerful members of Congress to conduct an investigation. A letter went to the FCC, and I don't think they have received a response yet. You kind of sit and wonder if Dwight Eisenhower was still alive, if he'd be warning us about the military-industrial big media complex.
Talk about why this is so significant to you, what has been going on with these analysts who, among other things, we weren't told as a viewing audience that, for example, when they worked for a military contractor, and here they had special access to the Pentagon because they were getting their talking points, they were being great spokespeople for them.
It's part of this larger problem that you and Bob and Josh have been talking about too much power being concentrated in too few hands. So if indeed this is going on and they only have to get a few people in to get the story on all these networks and all these stations, that's what the American people hear. That's the problem with big media, not just the homogenous and nationalized entertainment, but the dumbed-down civic dialogue. The inability to hear on the major networks a news report like you gave this morning, which really is a refreshing perspective on what's going on in this country of ours. My line on this, and I'm always so happy to be on Democracy Now!, I am here in Minnesota to get media democracy now, because I don't think you can have one without the other. I don't think you can have democracy unless you have a lot more in the way of media democracy in this country. And I think change is coming. I'm hopeful that change is coming. I'm hopeful that we will be able to address media in a comprehensive fashion. But here's what I want. I want, right off the bat, a down payment on media democracy, so that the message will go out that, number one, we've done something substantive, and number two, this is a big issue and it's going to take a while to solve comprehensively. But there are some things we can do right now. And one of those, this is my down payment on media democracy proposal, is return to a broadcast licensing and relicensing system for broadcasters that has some teeth in it, some public interest obligations, so you have local news, coverage of diversity communities, all of those things that we're lacking now. And number two would address not just the traditional media of broadcast, but the new media of the internet. This is all of a piece. It's all the same problem that we face. So what the FCC could do right off the bat next year would be to have a binding, enforceable principle of network neutrality, non-discrimination on the internet. So I think if we could do those things, we'd have made some real progress, and we would have the message out in Washington and around the country that we were now going to get serious about comprehensive reform working with Congress.
Explain what you mean by net neutrality.
To guarantee the freedom and openness of this most dynamic and liberating technology probably since the printing press, or maybe even more than that. Here we have this wonderful opportunity to have a two-way dialogue in journalism, two-way news, real interchange between people and their leaders and people and the media. We cannot afford to go down the same road with new media that we've gone down with old, where you let a few people control the networks, control the distribution, and control the content. Conduit content. That's a recipe for what? Monopoly or oligopoly at best.
How does public access fit into this picture? These national treasures in every community where people can make their own media.
Well, it's the last, hopefully not the last gasp, but the last remnant of localism, of local communities, of diversity of broadcasting, of opposing and antagonistic points of view sometimes. This is what we have to have, and they become more and more important. Public access, peg channels, low power, all of these things so much more important as we go down this road of consolidation. I mean, we spent 25 years deregulating media, getting rid of all of the public interest obligations we had, and then allowing the tsunami of media consolidation. And we are paying a horrid price.
Let's talk about what happened in December. Major victory for the media conglomerates. Your commission, the Federal Communications Commission, approved a measure undoing the key barrier to media consolidation. The FCC voted 3-2, you were in the minority, to ease the rules for companies seeking to own both a newspaper and television or radio station in the same city.
Well, hopefully we're going to be able to reverse that. The Senate, under Senator Byron Dorgan's leadership and others, has voted to reverse that. It'll go to the House of Representatives. We'll have to see what happens there. It'll go to court. We've been down this road before. In 2003, when Michael Powell was chairman of the FCC, he had proposals that he ran through the FCC to run roughshod over every media ownership rule that we had. You know what happened? He thought nothing would happen because nobody was interested in this issue. 3 million people contacted Congress and the FCC, about 99.9% against what Powell did. It was a grassroots movement. And the Senate voted to overturn it, the Congress, the House part of it, and then it went to court, and the court sent them back to us. Citizen action, even in this great impersonal age and all the power that corporations have, citizen action still works. Citizen action is what's going to get us democracy now and media democracy now.
Bob McChesney, this latest move in December, where do you see it headed right now?
Well, we won almost unanimously in the Senate, rejection really unprecedented, even compared to 5 years ago. With where we were able to overturn a lot of what the FCC tried to do then. This is dramatic improvement when you get a voice vote, basically, because people didn't want to go on the record in favor of media consolidation. It's in the House's hands now.